attention! We're starting now! Go!
What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Rockin Robbie Live on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host, Rockin Robbie Billups, station Pop Pop Boom. Happy to be here. We got a great show planned for you tonight, including, but not limited to, Marvel in the 90s. We're also going to be doing a little bit of show and tell, and it's a special show and tell because I had a great batch of Robbie Week offerings from you out there. We want to show them off tonight. We're going to be doing that. We're also going to be doing DC in the oddies, the DC sneak peek, and even more surprises. What is up, everybody? Welcome in. I hope you had a great week. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have had a great Sunday, and I hope that now, in particular, being here watching Rockin Robbie Live, you have the greatest Sunday night of all time. What's up, everybody? Super excited to be here. Sorry I missed last week, but y'all were right. I was wrong. Robbie Week exhausted me. It was absolutely fantastic. All my friends, my lover, everybody, we all got together. We all hung out. We did a sequence of events throughout the entire week, and it wore my ass out. So y'all were right. I was wrong. I thought I'd be here last weekend, but I was not. I was recovering from Robbie Week. But however, Robbie Week is behind us now. But we are here tonight to talk comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. This is the hippest place to be on Sunday night in this YouTube comic book community, if you know what I'm saying. Also, even though we got some grand plans tonight, the DC sneak peek, DC in the aughts, all that kind of stuff, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to chat about? What do you want to talk about? Throw it in the comments. Also, throw it up a station, maybe even a pop, pop, boom, all that stuff and more. Hey, you should follow, by the way. You should follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can join me and follow me over on X, over at The Rockin Robbie. And of course, you can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP generals right there, or with the super chat tonight. All super chats are going towards our Heroes Con visit next month. That's right. We're like a month away from Heroes Con, and we could use your help by keeping the lights on here and keeping the wheels going on the PCP bus, if you will. But anyway, what is up? We're going to have a great, grand old time tonight. But first, this week on the channel, tomorrow night, join us as we discuss Princess Mononoke on PCP Movie Night. We are in the midst of Crew's Choice, but even more specifically, we are at the end, or towards the end, of anime. That's right. Crew's Choice in May has to be an anime film. We've already done my pick, Akira. We've done Hammer Time Holshoe's pick, Your Name. And tomorrow night, we'll be talking about Brooks's pick, Princess Mononoke. That's tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night at 8 p.m. Central Time. We now pause for station identification. I want to see your stations out there right now. All right, what is up, everybody? Happy to see you here on Rockin Robbie Live. We took last week off, like I said, because I was recovering from Robbie Week, but we had a great Robbie Week. This is the events of Robbie Week. Sunday, we did a Rockin Robbie live stream, so that was fun. So y'all were here for that, so you know what that was. Monday, we covered one of my favorite films of all time, one of my favorite animated films in particular, Akira. So that was Monday night. Tuesday night was the weekly comic book review. Wednesday night was Twin Peaks night. We went to the local Twin Peaks, me and an assortment of my homies formed a group. We came out for Twin Peaks, then we went out and did karaoke. My girlfriend told me, that was the drunkest I've ever seen you. And I was like, you ain't seen nothing yet. Anyway, then Thursday night, I had to go to an event. So we did that, and then we had a very cool experience after that, just me and my girlfriend hanging out. So that was fun. And then Friday night, we had a retro game night. Brooks, single-handedly, with a small bit of help from Mike the Voice Matthews, beat Super Mario Brothers 2. I was too gone. But we had a great time. We had some snacks. We had some food. We had some retro games. We had some smoke. We had some drink. It was a good, solid time. Saturday night, which is my actual birthday, my buddy Jelani, y'all know Jelani hosted Backlash at his house, the WWE PLV or PLE Backlash, and so we went and we did that, had some more drinks, and went and spent the night with my girlfriend, had a great time, woke up, I'm exhausted. Most of those nights I stayed up until 4 a.m. or later. I was beat, y'all, on Sunday, so that's why we didn't do Rockin' Robbie Live last week, but here we are. And I'm going to take a look at the chat, see what is up with everybody. We got Derek in the house with his dinosaur dude. What's up, my man? GTK Comic in the house. Pete saying, station, everybody. Hope you're all doing great. Oilers advancing to the third round, and Toronto and Florida Game 7 tonight. Must be talking about hockey. All right, yeah, hockeys are in the playoffs, Hockeys are in the playoffs just like the basketballs. By the way, speaking of basketball, my Lakers shit themselves in the first round against a team they should have beat. So you know what? Fuck those Lakers. Go Knicks. I'm saying go Knicks for my homies Fable. I'm saying go Knicks for my homie Herm. I'm saying go Knicks for my homie Jay Strick. And I'm saying go Knicks for my homie Spilio. Go Knicks. That's who I want to see win, so we'll see what happens. Carstock Variant is in the house saying, go Canes. We got our Ariaga in the house with a go Knicks. Station, what's up? I agree. Go Knicks. Link is in the house. What up, Doe? Station, dude, so good to see you here, Steph. We can't wait till you're back on PCP Movie Night. I know you're coming up soon. I'm very, very excited about that. Kicking with you again. Venom Spawn is in the house saying, go Oilers. You know, I don't have a horse in the race as far as it goes with the NHL. I don't even know who's in the fucking playoffs right now, but I guess the Oilers are. I guess the Canes are. I guess the Panthers are. Who's Toronto? What's the Toronto team? I have no idea. Anyway, home of the Brave comic news and review. What is up, Station, my man? Bearded Comic Bro Station, what is up? Greg says, what's up, Robbie? Someday I will experience Robbie Week in person. Greg, I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to warn you. We're getting up there in age. Each year, Robbie Week gets more difficult to handle. But Greg, I would love that, man. I would love for you to come down for a Robbie Week. It coincides with Free Comic Book Day. You could even do a Free Comic Book Day blog at The Deep, my comic shop. It would be super fun. Greg, you're always welcome. You're always welcome. And if you need a place to stay, right here in my apartment, about a block away, there's a hotel. Totally acceptable. Totally cool. Check it out. Chill Out Man is here. What is up, my man? Anthony Davis is in the house. Rockin' homie Robbie. What is up, man? Chill Out Man says, good news, everyone. Guess who finally got a job? Yup, me. Station. Chill Out Man. Hell yeah. Congratulations. We got the Funk Doctor in the house. We got Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. Station PCP Army. How you doing? Our Ariaga says, Princess Mononoke is another perfect anime. 5, you digs. So far, we've been talking about perfect animes pretty much. I didn't give Your Name a perfect score because I do think it runs a little bit long at some points, but Your Name, which I had never seen before, excuse me, it was Hammer Time Holshoe's pick, anime was his whole idea, and I think his whole idea was to do that just so we could pick Your Name, even though he could have picked it regardless. Your Name was great. It was great. Such a fantastic movie. So yeah, Akira, Your Name, Princess Mononoke. We're hitting the best of the best. We're going to end it with Jelani's pick, Ninja Scroll. Haven't seen Ninja Scroll in a while. Didn't really like it much the last time I saw it, but the last time I saw it, I was like a teenager, so we'll see if I feel a little bit different, I don't know, 25, 30 years later. Bearded wants to know if I watched Twin Peaks after eating at Twin Peaks. No. But every time I go to Twin Peaks, I'm like, okay, so here's a funny story. When Twin Peaks first opened up here in this town, I kept driving by it and seeing it, and I was like, that's so fucking weird. There's a restaurant that's themed like the show Twin Peaks. We gotta go. So I went and told my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, and at the time she was my girlfriend. And I was like, yo, they just opened up this new restaurant called Twin Peaks. It's like a Twin Peaks themed restaurant. We got to go see it. She looks at me like, are you fucking stupid? I was like, no, what? And she's like, that's like a Hooters type place where chicks like have their tits out and their booties out and shit like that. I don't want to go to that place. She wasn't near as cool as some of my partners have been since. I'm just going to say that. All right. So that being said, I was like, I had no idea. She thought I did have an idea. I had no clue. I didn't realize Twin Peaks was that kind of a restaurant. And so then I was like, well, I guess we're not going to Twin Peaks then. I thought it was themed like the David Lynch, Mark Frost show. Shit. It's not. Or is it? It does kind of have that northwesterny vibe to it. So my first time at Twin Peaks was in Orlando at MegaCon a few years ago. And me, Mike, and Kevin had just gotten into Orlando. We got to our hotel room. It was late. We wanted some food. We were thinking about ordering pizza, and I was like, there's that Twin Peaks restaurant right there in the parking lot. Let's just go. We went there. I fell in love. We went there every night that year. Every night we go back, or every year we go back to Orlando. We go there several times, and it's now the one in my town is a fixture too. So we love Twin Peaks here. Yeah, maybe it's like Hooters, but they got good food. Hooters does not have good food, in my opinion, so... But no, I did not watch Twin Peaks after that. I was drunk as shit, and I went to karaoke, and then my girlfriend had to drive my ass back to her place and leave my car there because I was wasted, brother. I was absolutely wasted. Venom Spawn says, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Venom Spawn. Everybody throw out a station and a happy birthday to Venom Spawn right now. We got Dante's Game Room in the house. What is up, station? That's MGT Entertainment. Home of the Brave also loves the Knicks. Hell yeah. Bearded says, yeah, the Lakers did. Talking about shitting themselves in the first round of the playoffs. Need one last run by LeBron. I would love to see it, man. I would love to see it. But time is getting short, my friend. At this point, I think we should have moved away from LeBron a while ago. The Maple Leafs. Leafs. No shit. Toronto Maple Leafs. I knew that. I knew that. Thank you, Bearded. I knew that. I knew that. Somewhere deep down in this brain, I knew that. But it's been filled up with random facts about giallo and comic books and wrestling. Chill Out Man says, Steph, awesome stream today. Just finished watching Ugly Stepsister. Nice. Link wants to know, how would you rate it, Chill? That was the show that Steph and Verno talked about today on Blood Splatter Chatter. I've never seen it. I never even heard of it. So I'm interested to know what your takes are. Chill Out Man says, definitely a 5. Okay. Steph, you let me know. Do I need to watch this movie? Because a 5 from Chill Out Man is not saying much. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's not saying too much. No offense, Chill Out Man. But you're a little gracious. Bearded says, I respect that I am too old to sleep on someone's couch. Hotel all day. Don't worry, Friday night, I think Kevin had to sleep on my couch, and 2 other of my friends had to sleep on my bag chair. I got this giant bag chair that is totally sleepable. So if it's just you, that's fine. But if you bring the fam, you got to go over to the hotel. It's like literally just a block that way, man. You could walk to my apartment from that hotel. A happy fucking birthday, Venom Spawn. Link says, you sweet, sweet boy, thinking Twin Peaks restaurant was based off the show. I did. It was all wooden looking. It's got a big deer out there. I was like, this shit's based on Twin Peaks. This is awesome. So yeah, there is a bit inside of me that I go there and I do feel like I'm at the lodge at Twin Peaks. Not the Black Lodge. Fuck, it's been a minute since I've rewatched Twin Peaks. Not the crazy lodge with the zigzags, man, but that would be a cool restaurant, wouldn't it? That'd be cool. But the hotel that's there, whatever. Yeah, I did. I'm so innocent, bruh. I was seriously like, Twin Peaks. I didn't even think Twin Peaks. I thought, Twin Peaks the show? That's how my brain works. Southside Ronin is in the house with love from Chicago. Good to see you, homie. Funk Doctor is here with a question. I got questions, Robbie. Did you drop the Power Fantasy? And if so, why? All right, first of all, Funk Doctor, are you Eric? I know you're not. So before we answer this is the first question. So it goes with the first shot, but tonight we're taking a hit. The lawmakers of my state have decided to outlaw my marijuana. So I got a month and a half left. We'll see what happens. That's some bullshit, by the way, though. Cannabis legalization, everybody. Come on. Power Fantasy. All right. I have a weird history with Kieran Gillen. I do like his work. I love, in particular, the book The Wicked and the Divine. However, when that book first released, The Wicked and the Divine, with Jamie McKelvey on the artwork, Matt Wilson on the coloring, I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was a little long-winded, thought it was a little boring, thought it was a little pretentious. And I stopped reading it. But then I keep hearing everybody tell me how great it is and how much you, Robbie, would love this book. Why have you dropped Wicked and the Divine? So I went back and I got caught up and I loved it. And I followed it all the way through to its ending. And I think Wicked and the Divine is the best book from Gillen I have ever read. Love it. Still don't like his Thor run. Don't like his X-Men work. Both times. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Gillen. Gillen is not a name that I will automatically just be like gung-ho. Like when Hickman releases a book, I'm automatically on board. That's why things like Wolverine Revenge are disappointing, because they don't really work for me, right? Hickman, Morrison, Ellis, when Ellis was still, doing a lot of stuff. There are writers, Dennis Kemp lately, Rom V, of course. There are writers that I get really excited about. Dan Waters, Alex Packnadell, David Pepose. People whose work I really respect and like. Gillen is one of those dudes, but he's not somebody who I just know that I will like the majority of their content, of their work, right? So that being said, I am a huge fan of Casper Wingard. Casper is a super cool dude. I gotta get him on the show soon. I know he's aware of who we are. So I gotta get Casper on the show soon. But I read the first issue of Power Fantasy and I was bored with it. I didn't really like it. I got the idea that this felt like the ideas that Marvel said no to with his X-Men run. I think some of that's been confirmed, just a little bit of it, right? And I read the second issue and I was lost and I didn't care and I thought it was boring and I thought, what a waste of Casper's talent. And I very quickly dropped out. Now, here's the thing. Y'all know me. Y'all know what we do. The biggest show we do here on PCP, not meaning the show with the most views overall, but the most consistent, most watched video, the flagship show of the channel is the weekly comic book review. Obviously, it's the big deal, right? And I'm proud of that. I really, really am. We are in the 10th year of PCP, but the 9th year of the weekly comic book review. So, because that came a little bit later, believe it or not. PCP started in 2015. Weekly comic book review did not show up until 2016 in October. So with this October, we'll be celebrating 9 years of the weekly comic book review. So October of 2026 will be the 10th anniversary. And I hope I can keep it going because we haven't missed a week yet. So I'm really, really proud of that show. But one of the things, that show I review and read 35 to let's say 35 to 40 on average comics a week and talk about them. One of the ways to keep that at 35 to 40 comics a week, and when it first started, I limited myself to 10 comics a week, which is interesting. But now I try to keep it between 35 to 40. If I go over or under, who cares? But one of the ways I can make that happen is if a book is not interesting me, I jump out of it. In fact, I just recently had a comment on the channel. I was going to get Davey to do a respond to negative comments kind of thing. I'm not even going to look it up. Some asshat said, somebody asshat on the last weekly comic book review said, he counted the number of books that I reviewed, and he's like, out of all of these were all strong reviews, these were weak reviews, and one bad review. It would be $150 to buy all of his strong reviews. This guy is not a reviewer. He is a promoter. So therefore, he's out. All right, well, don't let the fucking door hit you on the way out, is what somebody commented. Somebody else said, what's the golden ratio for bad to good reviews? And then somebody else who pays attention, everybody pays attention, but this one person, whoever it was, in particular pays attention and says, Robbie doesn't keep reading comics that he doesn't like. And that's a way to keep my weekly comic book review to 35 to 40 books instead of 100 to 150. If I don't like it, I don't read it, I don't talk about it, I don't dwell on it. Granted, there has been the times where I've hate read things like Amazing Spider-Man. Okay? Those are done for bits. If I can make a bit out of it, I'll do it. Tom King sometimes becomes a bit. But for the most part, if I'm not digging on a book, if I'm not vibing with it, I just stop reading it. So if you're watching the weekly comic book review, here's some good insider knowledge. If you're reading or watching the weekly comic book review, and you're curious about my thoughts on a book and I didn't cover it, I probably don't like that book. Or something threw me off of that book. Or it was late and delayed. Diamond, am I right? Won't have that excuse to work with much longer. All right. That being said, on the monthly comic book review, our buddy Eric from 9 Panel Grid, one of the best channels out there. if you like weekly comic book reviews, you got to check out 9-Panel Grid, right? And Eric from 9-Panel Grid, who has a fantastic show on the Pull List, I think is what it's called, drops on Sundays, I believe. I think one dropped today, I guess. He's been touting and lauding Power Fantasy for months and months and months. And now he's got Nick, another channel you should check out if you like weekly comic book reviews. Nick Comic Culture. Check out Nick's work. So he got Nick, and then he got his buddy Stu. Stu and him work on Ink and Insights together. Every Wednesday they flip shows between Dr. Doom's Fan Club and 9-Panel Grid. And all of them now are fucking loving Power Fantasy. Me and Greg are the outliers. We're the ones, bearded, by the way, when I say Greg, that's Bearded Comic Bro, another great channel. Somebody throw out links to 9-Panel Grid. Robbie says subscribe. Nick Comic Culture, Robbie says subscribe. Dr. Doom's Fan Club, Robbie says subscribe. Bearded Comic Bro, Robbie says subscribe. These are the homies that do the weekly or the monthly comic book review with me every month, for the most part. Our next episode, I think, is Thursday, May 29th. So, Eric's gotten everybody on board with Power Fantasy except for me and Greg. But me and Greg have both kind of committed to checking the book out. So I do actually have the first volume of Power Fantasy, the first trade paperback, first 5 issues, is on my desk out in Studio B, out in the living room-ish area, the den area, or whatever you want to call it. I live in an apartment. I got a living room and a dining room. I made my dining room Studio B. We used to film content there. I don't anymore because it's just piled with shit to read and toys and shit like that. This has become like a catch-all for just junk, right? So I got to clean through it, and maybe I can start streaming there again. It'd be fun to like move things around, like do content in there and shit like that. Anyway, so I am going to reread Power Fantasy. This is a long-ass answer to your question, and it's only the first part of your question. So I'm going to reread Power Fantasy. I think Greg is planning on doing the same thing, but there is a thing that me and Greg share, which is this. It's not an emotion, but it's an action, I guess, called spite. And me and Greg are very similar in this, where it's like, you know what? 3 of y'all are loving this book and touting the praises of it, and I feel like everybody else turned their back on me. So I kind of feel like going heel on Power Fantasy for no fucking reason, and just refusing to fucking read it and always talk shit about it. But you know what? I do trust Eric and Nick and Stu, so I'll get caught up. Next part of your question. Are you excited for the Fantastic Four film? And have you ever seen a little gem called The Boy Who Cried Bitch? I've never seen nor heard of The Boy Who Cried Bitch. All right. Fantastic Four. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. Fantastic Four is my favorite comic book, mainstream superhero, big 2 IP. It's Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is the first comic that really grabbed me. When I was a young kid, I was reading Superman, I was reading Fantastic Four, I was reading Spider-Man, I was reading X-Men. These are the books that my stepdad was reading, right? And he would send them over to my way. But that's what we read. We read Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men, and we read Fantastic Four. And so I knew who the Fantastic Four were. And then in the early 90s, when they did the die-cut cover and Alicia Masters is revealed as the Skrull, and I had already read Fantastic Four 300, the wedding of Alicia and Johnny, and the fact that Alicia was Ben's girlfriend, all that drama, it got me sucked into that book. And then I walked into a comic shop on my own, walking home from school one day, and I picked up Fantastic Four 374, the new Fantastic Four versus the old Fantastic Four. And I never stopped. Fantastic Four is my jam. It is my shit. I have never had a pleasing 100%, or should I say 400% satisfying Fantastic Four movie. The Roger Corman one is the Roger Corman one. Never got released, but I've seen it. I know a lot of y'all have seen it. That was one of the first bootleg. It wasn't even a DVD. It was a CD-ROM at the time. It was like I had to load it in my computer and watch it all pixelated and shit. But, yeah, that one's rough. Then there was the first Fox one, Tony Story. Did 1 and 2, which was Rise of the Silver Surfer. Both of those movies get elements right, but overall it's bad, and Doom is wrong in all of it. So I didn't like those. Then Fox did the Josh Trank, the guy that did Chronicle, which I still haven't seen Chronicle, had his notorious meltdown while making Fantastic Four. And that movie gets certain elements right, and it fucking shits the bed most of the time. So I've never had a good Fantastic Four movie, so I am hopeful. I love that this one's set like in the 60s in a retro future version of the MCU or whatever the fuck, another reality. I wasn't sold for Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards at first, but the more I watch those trailers, the more I see him just appearing in public, the more I'm like enamored with him, so I'm down. Vanessa Kirby as Sue, 100%. Joseph Quinn as Johnny, yes please. And then the dude playing Galactus, perfect. I think we just got a leak of what Galactus is supposed to look like. It looks like the dude's face. It's the guy from The Witch. He was in The Green Knight. He's in a lot of Robert Eggers shit, right? He's in every Robert Eggers movie, I think, maybe. Is he? He might be. That being said, the guy playing Ben, I don't watch. What's the fucking cooking show? It's not a cooking like competition show, but it's a show about cooking. The Bear? I don't fucking know what that show is, but I've never seen it. But I know he's in that show with that other dude that everybody's hot for. His name's like Noah something, right? I don't know. I don't know anything about him, but I've seen those trailers. I like the trailers. I'm very excited. I want a good, solid, decent Fantastic Four movie. That's what I want. So I am excited. All right, let's get caught up on these comments. I spent a long time talking about the power fantasy shit. We got a lot to get through, but that's the beauty of Rockin Robbie Live. Unlike when Triple H came into the Netflix on the WWE on Netflix first time press conference, and he's like, the beautiful thing about Netflix is that the show needs to run short or the show needs to run long. It can't. We're not locked into a timestamp. But we keep missing shit on Raw, and you keep cutting it off from me here in the States before we actually see the shit happen. We don't kayfabe here at Rockin Robbie Live. Often, I should say. Pete says, Toronto Maple Leafs, Robbie. Historically, they cannot make it past the second round, and they have a chance to do it tonight. Well, go Maple Leafs. How about that? Am I watching Lazarus? No, I am not. I do not have cable, nor access to shows and streaming services based around cable passwords. Come on now, Bebop, Shampoo, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Link. Two of my favorite shows out there. Samurai Champloo, I think, is the second best animated series anime of all time. My number one go-to is always Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? Samurai Champloo is the shit. I love Cowboy Bebop, but I think Champloo's better. But we're talking movies. We're talking films. And we're talking films not based on... It was very specific, John said. Nobody can pick something like the Cowboy Bebop movie. No movies based on a show, is what they were saying. So I picked Akira. John picked Your Name, which was great. Princess Mononoke, which I watched the other night for the first time in 25 years. Fucking phenomenal. Ninja Scroll is next. But tomorrow night we'll be talking about Princess Mononoke. Are you a fan of Eminem, Linkin Park, or DMX? I'm a fan of all three, Anthony. All three. Especially of the era when they first were coming out, right? Now, R.I.P. Chester, R.I.P. DMX. Out of those three, DMX was the one I was deepest into. I loved DMX. I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up. Stop. Drop. Shut him down. Open up shop. Oh, no. Just 'cause I love my jerky. There was like a Mad TV. I think it was a Mad TV skit where they were doing the My N-Words bit from DMX. And they were talking about, it was like DMX doing a promo for beef jerky. So that's how I prefer to do that so I don't get in trouble. But it's just 'cause I love my jerky. I shed blood for my jerky. Let a jerky holler, where's my jerky? All I want to hear, right here, my jerky. Shit cracks me up. Yo, we got Fable in the house. What is up, my man? Dynamite is in the house. How you doing? Link says Chill is on the money with his review. So Stepsister's Daughter? What the fuck is it called? I'll just check out the channel after the stream and see what's going on. I lost my place in the chat. Gotta throw it back. Bearded says, my kids don't need to experience Robbie Week. Yeah, probably not. Not yet. Wait till they turn at least 16. Link says, do you prefer Twin Peaks over Hooters? Absolutely. Hooters has shit food. And I actually like the food at Twin Peaks. I think their wings are really good. Their Texas Philly is really good. And their hangover burger is really good. And their appetizers are pretty good. I like Twin Peaks. Don't order their steak, though. You'll be disappointed. But then again, what do you expect? Right? If you order a steak, go to a fucking steak restaurant. If you want to eat a steak out, order a steak. Go to a steak fucking restaurant. Don't go to an Applebee's or a Fridays or a Twin Peaks or a Hooters and order the fucking steak. Don't go to goddamn Waffle House, order the steak and eggs and be surprised. I knew better. When are we going to review Three Ninjas on the channel? Greg, that is something that I feel like we really need to do. And this year we had a lot of fun with our Bad Movie April, where we did Double Dragon, we did Flintstones, we did Fateful Findings, the Neil Breen film, and we did Showgirls. And I'm very pleased to know that out of the bad movies, 3 of them became fun fucking experiences. Double Dragon was the shit one, though. That was really bad. But Flintstones is actually a good movie, not a bad movie at all. Fateful Findings is a bad movie, but one of the best bad movies of all time. And Showgirls is something special. I'm just going to say, I got to buy that shit on Blu-ray. So, that being said, I told everybody I want to bring Bad Movie April back next year. And Three Ninjas is a perfect one for that. Let me write that note down. Bad Movie April. That is some BS. What is some BS? Oh, then we're talking about the weed thing? Yeah. Yep. Goddamn fucking Alabama had a beacon of hope for the last 6 years. And now it's going away. And that stinks. It stinks mostly because I know I have friends that work in that industry down here. But there's things going on, shifting and changing, loophole after loophole. They're figuring shit out. We'll see what happens. But basically, yeah, we're not going to be able to buy flour anymore. That's going to be the biggest thing. And that stinks. Smoke weed almost every day. Says Link, I say smoke weed every day. If you can handle it. How close are you to the state line? Can you get your chlorophyll fix from the next state? Yeah, Mississippi and Tennessee, I believe. So yeah, there is that. Don't think that we don't. That's the problem with Alabama politics is we're so like Bible Belt, right? That things like marijuana, things like the gambling. So in particular, like the lottery has been a big issue my entire life. So in decades here, right? It's a moral thing. We can't have gambling. It will cause people to gamble. So what it does is just entice every one of the rest of us to drive over the state line and give Georgia, Tennessee, and Mississippi our fucking money. Or Florida. Like, does that make any fucking sense? Your population is gonna spend the money anyway. Why not allow it? It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. I don't want to get into this, though. Because it will really rile me up. And there's a reason why I don't do a channel about politics and policy. Because then I would get pissed off all the time. I try not to think about that. So I just drink my brews. And I smoke my buds. And I just try to chill, y'all. I read my comics, I watch my movies. Escapism? Maybe a little. But also, we like to dig a little bit deeper because we're the pop culture philosophers. Talking about Gillen again. Link says he was following Fraction for both X-Men and Thor. Felt like he was finishing those runs. I agree. Pete says the weekly comic book review is the best on YouTube. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Fable sharing all those channels. R. Ariaga says Nick is definitely the second best comic book reviewer. I like the assumption that I'm making that I'm the first best. So, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that. It's tough, man. It's tough. Nick and Eric. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Eric's a little bit better. Just a little bit better. The only reason why I'm saying that, and I'm not trying to fuck it, I'm not even doing a heel thing right now, right? I'm cooling it on the heel thing for now because R-Truth has got me shook. But anyway, so Eric has more of a history that he can pull on than Nick does. That's the only thing that I'll say about why I think Nick is, or why I should say it, why I think Eric is I would say Eric is the second best after me comic book reviewer on YouTube. I think it's Eric. And I think it's because of he's got more of a past. Not saying I'm not gatekeeping, but you get what I'm saying? Like, he can make references, at least to me, like, he can say things where I'm like, he's right, it is like that one random fucking comic from like 2002. And Link's got that same kind of fucking knowledge. And I love that because there's not a lot of us in the industry right now that have that knowledge that are still really excited about the industry. So that excites me. But Nick and Eric are neck and neck, but then you got Stu and you got Greg. Y'all, come on, don't let me compare these guys. I can't rank them. If I wanted to rank them. Eric, Nick, Greg, Stu. That's what I would say. If I wanted to rank those guys, that's where I'm getting. But they're all so fucking close. However, in the vast distance from those four is Rockin Robbie Billups. That's right. I do host the best comic book review of all time. And it doesn't even mean on YouTube. Let me cut this promo. Fable, you can clip this out if you want. Maybe I should. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups from Pop Culture Philosophers. We've been doing the weekly comic book review for almost 9 years. I've never missed a week. That's why I'm proud to go ahead and say officially that I am the greatest comic book reviewer of all time. It's definitely a fact here on YouTube in this paltry comic book community. There's weak competition out there, so it's not surprising that I'm the best on YouTube. However, I'm not saying I'm the greatest comic book reviewer on YouTube for all time. I'm saying I'm the best comic book reviewer of all time. That means Newsarama, fuck you. CBR, who the fuck you think you are? The Beat, get the fuck out of here. What else we got? Wizard Magazine. I grew up loving and respecting Wizard Magazine. They taught me hustle, loyalty, and respect for this industry. And I have never wavered. But Wizard fucked the community, fucked their subscribers, and fucked you. And they're done now because of it. So yeah, I'm better than that too. So let me tell you something. When people talk about comic books and who is the best critic of comic books, it's me, Rockin Robbie Billups, here at PCP, Pop Culture Philosophers, in the year of PCPX. And if you ain't down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it. Also, one more thing. Comic book reviewer? Shit. I got my aim set higher. Now we're ready for one of the greatest comic book creators of all time. Can Rockin Robbie pull a rock and transition? We'll see. But never get this twisted. When it comes to comic book reviews in the history of this entire industry, comic books, Rockin Robbie is the best station. All right, I think we got a good promo there. I think I just cut a good promo. That was all off the dome, believe it or not. I wasn't planning on doing that. That's dope. How long are we in? 45-ish minutes? 47? Promo. I gotta make a note so I can clip it out. Let's just say 45. That was good. Anyway. Fable sharing the shit. Let's get through these comments and take a break and then get back to the show. Yeah, Bearded says, I also picked up Volume 1, but don't tell Eric. Yeah, fuck that guy. Dynamite says, Resurrection Man is another series that the panel is big on. It's a really, really good one. Yeah, it was a long-winded answer, Link. 9-Panel Grid says, I'm totally clipping all of this. That was when I was saying the nice things about Eric, I believe. Fable says, I refuse to read Power Fantasy despite Eric. Power Fantasy rant. It's like I'm time traveling. R.A.R. Yaga says, the new Superman trailer was awesome. That's one of the things I wanted to get to. Yeah, that new Superman trailer was fucking dope as shit. I'm so excited for this movie. And I do think that this movie has a shot to get close to $1 billion. Now, I've made a bold prediction already that neither Superman nor Fantastic Four are going to hit $1 billion. I made that prediction. For some reason, I'm the guy when I do my show. By the way, check out my show over at the EXP. Somebody please throw a link out to the EXP, The Experience. I do a show there every Monday night at 5 p.m. Central Time with Dynamite Comics, a.k.a. Dynamic Forces. Two different companies, same thing. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I do this show with Dynamite/Dynamic Forces every Monday night over at the EXP. It's always super fun. It's a 2-hour show. They got lots of things available, including sketch covers. And they sent me a couple sketch covers, or 3, to do almost 3 years ago. And I finally started work on my first one. Literally, I have actually started it. So that means I'm going to finish that. I just got to get some pens. I haven't done any artwork in a minute. I'm thinking about just Sharpieing it. So anyway, I mean, Ken Hazer uses Sharpies. Anyway, check out that show. What the fuck was I saying? I do that show. Oh, and on that show, for some reason, I called the $1 billion movies last year, so everybody was expecting me to do it this year. Calling the $1 billion movies this year. The Jurassic World movie, Lilo and Stitch, and I guess that Inside Out has already done it, right? Inside Out 2 or whatever the fuck. I don't know about that shit. But I think those two movies have a chance. That's what I'm saying right now. But I think Superman's going to outdo Fantastic Four as far as box office. I don't think I'm an expert on box office, but I'm willing to try this out. So I think Jurassic World's going to make the most money in July. Then Superman's going to be very close. Not quite $1 billion, but I think Jurassic World's going to go over $1 billion. Why? Dinosaurs. But I think Superman has got people hype. I think Fantastic Four will be a little bit below Superman. That's what I think for the battle of the summer. I think it's going to be Jurassic World. It's going to be Lilo and Stitch. Just be honest. That's going to be like one of the biggest movies, biggest money makers of the year is Lilo and Stitch, I think. We'll see. Comes out next week. Moving on. Getting sidetracked tonight like a motherfucker. But that Superman trailer's dope. Just started getting the ROM hype with New Gods, so I'm right there with you, Dine. Yeah, New Gods is awesome. New issue out this week. We'll be talking about it on the DC Sneak Peek. Chronicle had a lot of homages to Akira. Check it out. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Just learned the other day that Joseph Quinn's first movie was Overlord. Beardy lets me know that show is The Bear. Silver Surfer's my favorite character. Fantastic Four is dead to me. Here's the thing. Do you think Pedro Pascal signed up for like 10 fucking years of Fantastic Four films? No. This is what's happening. They are ending the MCU as we know it. They're going to relaunch. They're going to reboot. If they're smart. So we'll have another Fantastic Four. This is not the 616. It's not the... I guess the MCU calls themselves the 616 too, but that's kind of bogus, right? It should be its own separate designation, right? Should be. However, this is like a Shia LaBeouf becomes a surfer is like a what if issue. It's like a what if universe. That's fine with me. I don't mind. Do you really mind staring at a shiny silver female body all movie long? Come on. Lazarus is the new show from Shintaro Watanabe. Is what I meant. Oh, okay. Fable says your name was really good. Omega Slice is here. What's up? Have you watched any more Breaking Bad? Yes, I watched episode 3. Let's get into that real quick. I have watched episode 3 of Breaking Bad. I watched it this afternoon, and I liked it. I'm going to tell y'all something. 3 episodes into Breaking Bad, and I'm like, not super intrigued. Like, honestly, like, it's decent and it's okay. Like, I thought the first episode was super solid. Second episode was okay. Third episode, I get it, though. Here we go. This is what people say. A slow burn. Yeah, it's a slow burn. We're just now in episode 3, dealing with Walter finally killing this dude. That takes 2 episodes. Okay, that's fine. We're building a story. I get it, and it's fine. I like it. But this episode in particular felt slow to get to a point that I thought we were going to get in episode 2. So structurally right now, I'm saying that for what if I'm watching this with no knowledge week to week about what people think about Breaking Bad, in hindsight, once it's all said and done, right? If I'm watching this week to week, at this point, I'm going, this show's all right. It's not bad, but I'm not sunk in yet. I'm not really sunk in yet. In episode 3, it was decent, and it's like sad dad shit. It's fine. It's just like I need more world building, more characters, more conflict, and it's trying to do that, and I know it's building it slow. Well, what channel was this on? FX or some shit? AMC, something like that. I think FX. I'm not 100%. Maybe AMC. I don't know. I don't remember. But 3 episodes in, this is the point where I might drop out of it. I might just be like, it's all right. It's just a sad fucking thing, whatever. Right. The show ends, by the way, with a cliffhanger where he's like telling his wife, I got to tell you something. I figure what he's going to tell her is, I have cancer. It's going to put the weed thing into perspective. It's going to put his behavior into perspective, and then we can get the show going once Walter actually then gets, because here's my problem right now. It's even more infuriating because I know the legacy this show has. I know how much people love this show, and I'm really waiting for it to fucking kick off, man. I feel like it's 3 episodes, and I'm like, what the fuck? Kick the fuck off already. Let's get into it, but I gotta have patience. I will have patience. And on previous shows, in order to get me to do the next episode of Breaking Bad and to watch it, required at least $10 in super chats. Tonight, it's just $1. Like any super chat comes through, and Breaking Bad episode 3, episode 4 of season 1. Breaking Bad episode 1. Breaking Bad season 1 episode 4 will be watched with any super chat. But right now, I'm finding it difficult to believe that this show hits the level that so many people think it does. It was a fine enough episode. I just felt like episode 1, 2, and 3 could have been a big, great 2-part episode. And 3 episodes, man. 3? I don't know. That's what I thought. I'd give this episode a 3 ya digs. 3 out of 5 ya digs. Sorry, Pete. I want to get through the rest of these comments before we take this break. Here we go. But I did watch it. Breaking Bad. If you want to watch me, if you want me to do episode 4, any super chat tonight, we'll make that happen. Anthony says DMX at Woodstock 99 was great. Yes. Yes, it was. Don't know one growl better than X, says Link. You're right, my man. Where the hood at goes so hard, to be honest, DMX was the best, says Omega Slice. Where the hood at? Starscream's in the house. What's up, my man? Station. Dynamite says, if I want a steak, I'll go outside and fire up the grill. That's what I'm saying. Rocky loves Emily. Here we go with this fateful findings bullshit, says Link. Did I give that movie a 5? I might have. I don't know. That was a fun night. Skimming through comments now. Robbie calling people old. Reminds me of Footloose. Is dancing forbidden there too? What are we talking about? Bearded says, I don't do comic reviews. I just talk to creators so I don't have to review comics. Well, you review them on my channel. Yo, coming at Wizard. Yeah, the original Transformers Kickstarter, fucking huge. Link says, my favorite bit of the promo, I guess, was flames towards Wizard. Yeah, I like that too. I thought that was good. Fable says, agreed. I think Jurassic World is going to wipe them both. Pete says, dude, Stitch looks so damn cute. Yeah. Mission Impossible. Dynamite, I'm really pumped for Mission Impossible. I thought the last one was great. So I'm really excited for Final Reckoning, but I don't think it's going to do very well because it's going up against Lilo and Stitch next week. Chocos, what is up? Acres, go on a dark ride for The Crow or The Matrix? Ooh, The Matrix. I'd love a ride based on The Matrix. Oh, Chocos, you got a good blind bag for Battle Beast then. That's awesome. Ling says it gets better by the end of season 1. Season 2 is where it really kicks off. Speaking of Breaking Bad, Fable says it gets better and better. It's a slow descent into madness. AMC, I believe, says Fable. Watch 2 episodes at a time. Mr. Rogers' transformation to Scarface is the best description. All right, and we do got a super chat from Pete. All right, Breaking Bad episode 4 is happening. Breaking Bad. Ep 4. It's happening. Here's the thing. If we get another super chat, I'll do 4 and 5 this week. I think I got time in my schedule. Shit, let's do it. Let's do it. In the meantime, thank you so much for the super chat, Pete. We really appreciate it. Hey, yo. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had a sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. PPRD. All right, thank you so much, Pete. We're doing Breaking Bad episode 4, and if we do another super chat, we'll do episode 5. We'll do 2 at a time, see what happens. Link says, don't question the method. It's a brilliant show. Okay. Joe says, hey, fellas. What's up, Joe? Verna was here from Blood Splatter Chatter. Sup, party people? Robbie, you do that movie review yet? No, we just been rambling. I went really long-winded on one question. But it's coming up after the break. Not too long after, hopefully. It'll probably be fucking 9 o'clock by the time we get that movie review, bro. In fact, we got to get through this. In fact, we're taking a break. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live. When we come back, we still got the DC sneak peek, Marvel in the 90s, and then we're going to be reviewing Short Night of Glass Dolls. Fuck. Man, I am high as shit. All right, we're taking a quick break here on Rockin Robbie Live.
When I was a kid, we moved in right next to the neighborhood, and we walked there, like, literally I was like 11 or maybe younger than 11.
All right, we are on our way to the next place.
Yeah.
Do we see him?
I think it's going to be slowing down. Take it left.
Nope, that's not him.
Damn it. God, yeah, and it was one of those ones that, you know, it's like fucking loud.
Little bastards.
And we go down there and it's pitch black and there's no lights at all. Just this big alcove, and above there are like trees and like high areas back there that you can walk up to if you know how to get there.
Oh, it wasn't responding the way it was the last time.
Yeah.
Oh no, they hated it.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it's experimentation. Trying out, like...
I'm not judging you, brother, right?
It's like
It was just weird when you were like, hold up.
Close Encounters.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm terrified of all ghost stuff, even though I don't believe in anything. But we're walking around and we hear loud as day. We hear, ah! Just one loud, piercing scream from the trees, and I immediately was like, I wanna go, 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 can we go, I wanna go, I wanna go, can we go, I wanna go, I wanna go,
Trying to do the photo shoot today. No Robbie, no Blake. May not happen. We'll see. Basic story of the house here. Let me be the last one on it. Found an orange ball after that orange orb encounter.
Say that again, I wasn't recording. I'm so serious.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious, y'all.
Are you really?
I am now. I'm so serious.
Were you recording any of it?
No, none of that.
I told the orange ball sigil story.
He did.
I know you did, and I told you. I'm so sorry I didn't film any of that.
How do we feel about what happened?
I don't want to go home tonight.
Let me know. You want to.
Yeah, let me see.
What's
What do I
your
want?
shot?
Try not to get a customer here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Come up to like Trevor, like right up in this little section right here.
Hey man, just get you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. Had a great show already, just talking to the chat, bullshitting around, but now, upcoming, we got the DC sneak peek, we got Marvel in the 90s, we got a review of a movie that Celluloid Dreams have sent me, Short Night of Glass Dolls. We'll be talking about that tonight. Also, some more stuff, so we're in it for the long haul, everybody. So how is everybody doing? Welcome back to the show. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram if you're on Facebook. Join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on X over at the Rockin Robbie. And of course, you can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP generals right there. I believe I got to update that. I think that's more updated than the one at the end of the weekly comic book review. And thank you all. All the support, all the super chats, everything really helps us out a lot here. Helps me out personally a lot, so I really do appreciate it. There are times where literally you have paid the utility bill. You have literally kept the lights on in the studio. So thank you all so much for the support. We really do appreciate it, but all we really need is a like, a share, a subscribe, and joining the conversation. That's right. I want to see your comments, all that stuff and more. We got a super chat from Chocos26. My man, it's your time to shine. Let's go. Keeping Breaking Bad hope alive. Y'all ready for this? Sing along with me, please. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nana who had the sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Brown, and now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with the man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with the fire starter named Liz, and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. PPRD. All right, welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live. Let's get it going. Let's kick it live. So, what's going on in the chat? What would you call this era of comics? I say it's the IP era. Well, right now I think we're in a good era of enjoyment of comics. I was talking about this the other day with some homies of mine. And I was like, we're in an era right now where we have a lot of big selling comics. Now, I'm not talking about huge numbers like, say, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane numbers. We're not talking about that. But we are in an era right now where numbers are strong as fuck on things like the Energon universe, the Ultimate universe. And you got your tentpoles like Amazing Spider-Man and Batman, but when you have a relaunch after a not so appreciated Spider-Man run and Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb coming back to do Hush 2, you really boost those numbers up too. In addition to that, you have the Absolute universe and you have consistency all around. You actually have a Marvel event going on right now, One World Under Doom, that is selling strongly, consistently by issue through issue 4 of a 9-issue series that felt like it had more of a build than some of the events before. DC with their All-In initiative is doing solid things. They've really boosted numbers on Superman in particular. Action Comics, they're trying. It ain't working so much. But overall, I think the industry is doing solid. And then you got Battle Beast pushing over 400,000. That's crazy. Now, a lot of people want to talk about, what's that Bad Idea book? It was really good. Planet Death or something like that. It was really good. Loved it. Over 600,000 copies sold. They were sold very cheaply in bundles. So that's not surprising Battle Beast, though, that is surprising to me. And I think me, like most other people in this world, under-ordered Battle Beast. And I thought I over-ordered. And I bet they all thought the same thing. Battle Beast was fucking amazing. So, between Energon, Ultimate, Absolute, and through a series of relaunches and hot-shotting Jim Lee coming back, you've really boosted up numbers on the two biggest sellers already, Amazing Spider-Man and Batman. But the really cool thing is that this has been happening and building for the last 2 years. That's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty fucking cool. I would say that right now, what I would call this current era of comics is the post-Diamond era of comics. And speaking of, let's not discount the success of Dynamite. Let's really talk about this. You know I work with Dynamite. I'm not saying any of this because I work with them. All I got to do for them is do some creator interviews and do that show on Monday nights. They do not pay me for my thoughts and opinions, meaning they don't pay for good reviews. But let's be honest about this. Dynamite was not the publishing company that you would depend on for strong storytelling for a while there. Okay? Cheesecake covers? Yes. Dynamite has really distinguished themselves out. And I'm saying this, Joe, because you mentioned the IP era. The success. We're talking numbers right now. And critical success. So we're talking numbers and critics. And audience response. Because the audience response is in the numbers, right? So commercially and critically successful books from Dynamite. And it's more than one. Outselling their Vampirellas and Red Sonjas are books like Space Ghost, Captain Planet, Johnny Quest, Thundercats, Silverhawks. Why? Yeah, covers goose the numbers, sure. But just the fact that Dynamite is doing explosively well shows the upturn and health on our comic book industry. And with the unfortunate, maybe, collapse of Diamond, I would say that right now, where we are, this is the post-Diamond era of comics. And it's never looked better. That was hyperbole. It has looked better. Definitely looked better when X-Men came out and sold 8-point-something million copies. However, aside from that, we're in a really strong era and things are on the uptick, and they've been on the uptick for a couple of years. There are a lot of brands out there that are bringing in new readers, enticing older readers, and exciting current readers. So hell yeah. I think the post-Diamond era, I think we're in for a good time. We'll see what happens. Shit, that should be clipped out. Post-Diamond era. About an hour 15 in, maybe. Cool. I'm trying to, maybe clip out more stuff. Whatever. I got a recent comment when I put out, finally, I started clipping out Image in the 90s again. And somebody was like, thank you for doing this because I don't always have time to watch the lives and I've missed these, but I love them. And then I realized it. And also it's hard to find. Oh, fuck, I missed Robbie talking about Youngblood #2. What fucking Rockin Robbie Live is that on? Well, it's on me to figure that out and clip it out for you. All right. Chokos, once again, thank you for the super chat. 2 episodes at a time. We'll see, guys. Yo, Stu is here. What is up, my man? Making sure I don't miss anybody before we get into business. I've had a great weekend, Stu. All right. Believe it or not, DC is releasing comics this week. I've read what I wanted to read, and now I'm here to report on your official DC Sneak Peek. All right, first up, we got Superman Unlimited, a new Superman book written by Dan Slott with artwork from Raphael Albuquerque. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's not bad. It's okay. There is something new and exciting that's set up for Superman and the Super Family in this issue. That's cool and that's interesting. Most of this issue is a catch up on who Superman is. So I guess that works. Like, if you haven't read Superman in a while, this is a good jumping on point, honestly, because it catches you up on the history and the lore of Superman. So that was the assignment, I am sure, the mission statement from DC Comics and Dan Slott and Raphael. So Raphael does some really solid artwork here. I'm a really big fucking sucker for this, but like when you first reveal Superman, like the first view you have of Superman is that's dope, that's cool. But then the first time you see Superman in full should be like a big moment. And here it's just like, it's like a half-assed moment. There's some things about the pace, the structure of this book that I question, but it does understand its mission statement, and it does deliver a Superman book that gets you caught up on Superman lore and mythology from the beginning all the way through the recontextualization of all the different eras into today. So this is a good modern baby's first Superman book. So there you go. All right, then we got Wonder Woman issue number 21, the second and final part of a two-parter by Tom King and Gillian March. I like the artwork. I think March is fine. I don't think that the 9-panel grid is his best mode of operation, but that's what's being done here. I didn't like the first issue of this. The basic premise is somebody's killed a god of Olympus, and Batman and Wonder Woman are tasked with solving the murder within a certain amount of time, or Zeus gets Batman's soul or some shit like that. And the first issue I didn't really like, and I've seen a lot of stuff like it. Second issue pulls it together, actually does come out with a solid and decent ending, though it is a misuse of March's talents to do a 9-panel grid. The fact that he did do a 9-panel grid and got the job done is actually pretty extraordinary for an artist like him. It's not typically within the restrictive nature of what he works with. Or I should say, that's more of a restrictive nature than what he typically works with. So that was solid. It was a decent enough issue. It was okay. Then we got Nightwing 126 here. Yeah, 126. The ending of a two-part story with Francisco Francavilla coming in to the artwork. I love Francisco's artwork. There are some moments here where it looks rushed and wonky, mostly in structure of like characters' heads and faces and stuff like that. But the color choices are still spot on and amazing. There's basically a spirit of the cop killer coming down onto Bloodhaven to wreak vengeance on this new regime trying to help things out. I guess, I don't know. Dan Waters is really... I didn't think that Dan was the best pick for Nightwing. And the first few issues, even with Dexter Soy's artwork, didn't really work for me. But recently, it's really been working for me. And I think that Dan is really like settling into the world of Bloodhaven and Dick Grayson. And it continues there. Then we got DC Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 3. This is just big dumb fun, y'all. I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. I'm more of a Mario fan. I would love to see Mario cross over with the Justice League in this same manner, and I would be all for it. That being said, even though I'm not super deep into Sonic lore, and I wasn't really a Genesis kid, I was more of a Nintendo kid, but man, this book is awesome. I'm loving it. There's all these different Sonics out there. I know Tails and Knuckles and Sonic. I know the first 3 games. That's literally it. I don't know who Shadow is. I don't know who these other people are, but it doesn't matter. This book is exciting. So what's happened is the Justice League wound up in the Sonic world, and then that Sonic world got destroyed with the Justice League in it, but all the Sonic characters escaped into the DC universe. So now they got to pick up the role carry on the roles of the Justice League. So you got this one being Wonder Woman, Knuckles being Superman, this one being Green Lantern, Tails being Cyborg, Shadow being Batman, and Sonic being Flash. And it's so much fun, and it's so simple, and the structure's so perfect for all ages. It's easily accessible. This is a fucking good comic, y'all. That's a good comic. They're also, and also Turtle's doing great. Turtle's doing great. We're talking about my era of comics rant. Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 39. Yet another weak issue of We Are Yesterday. Honestly, as I'm reading this, I'm like, you know what? Kind of fuck Mark Waid and DC for like, you just relaunched Justice League with Justice League Unlimited. A super expansive Justice League with Dan Mora on the artwork, and it's fucking awesome. And you're building up this threat, and this threat is revealed to be the Legion of Doom from back in the day, time traveling to the... That's cool. So now you got this timey-wimey story going on, but the problem is it goes in and out of Justice League Unlimited and World's Finest. Mark Waid, are you just doing this to push numbers on World's Finest to not get it canceled? Because since Dan Mora left, which was the drive of that book, you now are trying to goose those numbers by doing this crossover, and at the same time, killing momentum of JLU. This crossover is killing momentum on Justice League Unlimited. It really is. Because a lot of people aren't checking out these tie-ins, and when they do, they're lackluster, subpar, not up to snuff. Then we got Detective Comics 1097. It's a solid issue of Detective Comics. Tom Taylor's been doing a great job. Mikhail Hanin takes a break here. Lee Garbett steps in. Artwork is solid, and it gives us a detective story that ties into one of I think Bullock is no longer a police officer, but it ties into one of Harvey Bullock's first cases, right? And it's a current case, and it's tied into the mystery of what is this organization that was behind a lot of stuff that was established in the first arc by Tom Taylor. Art's solid, coloring's great, story's good. This is a great detective-focused Batman comic. It's really solid. You should check it out. Then we got Batman and Robin Year 1, issue number 7, another stellar issue for all the shit that I can throw at Mark Waid's feet for what he's doing by undercutting the momentum of Justice League Unlimited with this We Are Yesterday bullshit. I can applaud him and Chris Samney and Mateus Lopez, right? Yeah, Mateus Lopez on this amazing book, which is Batman and Robin Year 1, which is set up and so far succeeding in the idea of being a perennial favorite on the shelf that anybody can pick up and read at any time, dealing with the first year of Batman with a new partner, introducing the origin of Clayface, tying it in with Two-Face, really cool stuff. Also doing more with the gangster element and tying in even to the Bertinelli family and setting up some future Huntress stories. So really cool work in Batman and Robin Year 1. And then we've got New Gods, issue number 6. What could make me love Ram V on New Gods even more? How about Felipe Andrade? Yes! One of the best issues of New Gods yet. The entire issue, for the most part. There are some Evan Cagle bits, but mostly this issue is drawn by Felipe Andrade, the artist of Rare Flavors and Many Deaths of Layla Starr, along with Ram V. This book is amazing. Even the Evan Cagle stuff is amazing. This book has been brilliant. It's been great. This is the death of Light Ray and Black Racer. It's a focus in on him. It's so good, y'all. DC Comics is pumping out some really good stuff. This New Gods comic is also selling very well. Then we were talking about the Absolute books. How about Absolute Flash issue number 3? This is the undersung Absolute book right now. A lot of people are in and out of this book, and it makes sense. This issue took me like a minute and a half to read. Y'all, I'm not even lying. It was like less than 2 minutes to read this entire comic. But man, I am loving it. I love this version of Wally West, but in particular, I love the showing of the speed with these like digital lines. doing something different. Not just like with a blur. It's very Tron-like to me with how they're showing speed. There is a mystery deepening here. It's Jeff Lemire, so it's like a quick-paced comic that has a lot of things added to it, but you also get this really great introduction of the Absolute Grodd, which was revealed at the end of the last issue. But Grodd is like a little cute monkey in this Absolute universe. Kind of befriends Wally here. Pretty freaking solid. So let's recap real quick. Superman Unlimited understands the mission, gets it done, but it's an okay comic. Wonder Woman 21 was better than issue 20. It completes that story in a decent enough way, but it's just okay. Nightwing 126, Dan Waters is really settling into the world of Bloodhaven. It's pretty solid. Then we got Sonic DC, or DC Sonic, issue number 3. This book is fucking great. It might be like the third best DC book this week. Batman Superman World's Finest. Shame on you, Mark Waid, for undercutting the momentum of JLU with this bullshit crossover. Detective Comics maintains its solidarity. Sure, let's say that. Batman and Robin Year 1 is awesome. New Gods is awesome. Even more awesomer. And I think Absolute Flash is underlooked and underappreciated. And that has been your DC Sneak Peek. All right, that was easy. Find a place to put these books. Set them down on the arcade machine. Let's see. Let's look at the chats. What's up, Cantonese Comic Kid? What's up, Brian? March is an interesting choice for the 9-panel grid. Seems restrictive. Link, I 100% echo that. Pete says Mario Sonic would be dope. Yeah, I'd check that out. Pete also says Shadow and Silver are dope. So, dude's name is just Silver, so there's not a lot of... Okay, Silver, I can get that. What's the other one? Magenta? Fable says, got to pick up that Sonic book for my son. I think he'll love it. Yeah, for your son, bro. You'll love it too, man. Come on. Dynamite says, not reading anything from Mark Waid ever again. Why? He does solid work. Batman and Robin Year 1's great. You're depriving yourself of a good comic. Why? Nothing new. I can't stand his politics. Oh, who cares? No, I mean, if you care, you care. That's fine. More power to you. I have to separate the art from the artist in order to enjoy anything. So... That's just me, man. So I respect it. Name Changes says, nah, I pass on Batman and Robin, but New Gods is great. Silhouette's here. What's up, Silhouette? New Gods. DC puts out way too many Batman books. Well, people keep buying them, so that's why they're doing it. At least they're trying other things. Link says, Andrade is so good. I Stu gets excited that Felipe's on the issue. Hell yeah, he is. Pope Cerebus the First, Robbie, keep rocking, bro. Dark Regards. Dark Regards was great. Loved that book. Link says, got to get caught up on Flash and Martian Manhunter. Been reading everything else. Martian Manhunter is amazing. Name Changes says, not going to lie, I'm more of a Marvel fan, but DC is winning over for me right now. Link says, Marcos Martin on Batman is always welcome. I agree. Some people didn't agree in some of my comments. Silhouette says, how would y'all feel about Jeff Lemire on a Legion of Superheroes? Lemire hinted at possibly writing the book. I would love that. I think that would be great. Ouroboros is here. Hey, Robbie, missed the show. Glad to be back. Station, y'all. Good to have you here, Ouroboros. Thank you so much. Brian says, I've dropped all but Absolute Wonder Woman. Dope book. Absolute Wonder Woman is amazing. Love that book. Bryson. All right, you're right. There you go. All right, Bryson. Ouroboros says, Mark Waid is awesome. Sad to hear about the crossover. Link says, DC has definitely been putting out better work the last few years. Pope Cerebus I says, I can't separate an artist from the art. I diss Mark Waid too. Okay. Fair enough. All right, now it's time to go back. How far back in time? Let's start this over. I gotta pee. We'll wait. All right. Silhouette says, beginning of 2023 to now, it's been amazing for DC. I would agree with that. I think DC's been on a big upturn. Southside Ronan says, DC Comics is a beautifully illustrated book. Excited for the new arc. Dynamite says, has anyone heard what book Donny Cates is on yet? No, I have not. And from what I've heard, it might be a minute. We'll see. We'll see. All right, y'all. Now it's time to go back. How far back in time? To the 90s as we take a look at Marvel in the 90s. And today we're continuing our look at Eric Larsen's run on Wolverine with issue 134. This is his second issue with a cover by him, which I love. And if you see, it says, and promises the Marvel Universe versus Wolverine. Well, you don't quite get the Marvel Universe versus Wolverine. Though this book does get quite universal as it progresses this story. This issue does feature all of the characters that you see Eric Larsen drawing here in the issue fighting Wolverine. Why? Because Wolverine's been imprisoned in his own body by another alien consciousness. I don't remember her name. I don't know if they reveal her name. Most of this issue is narrated by Wolverine, and she's talking to him. So there is an alien entity that made its way to Earth in the previous issue, and it all ends with her overtaking Wolverine and basically riding him. That sounded dirtier than I meant it to. Anyway, he was teaming up with Warbird in the last issue. He slices and dices her. He is talking about how much he regrets this. The cops turn on him. Boom, 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 bada bing, bada boom. He starts slicing and dicing the cops. Then the Avengers show up, or some of our newer Avengers. That's right, Justice and Firestar. And the Vision show up. Now, the Vision is the veteran in the Avengers at this point, but this is the beginnings of the Kurt Busiek and George Perez Avengers run that I think is one of the greatest comics from Marvel in the 90s, period. Great stuff. And they were really, to use a wrestling term, trying to get Firestar and Justice over. Now, I was already a New Warriors fan, so I was very excited for these characters to join the Avengers, like the Avengers proper. And one of the things that Kurt Busiek and George Perez did so well in their Heroes Return Avengers run was setting up the importance of the Avengers. In fact, that led directly, I think, to some of the MCU elements. Anyway, so they show up. They're trying to get these characters over as Avengers, so they got to make a bunch of appearances in books. Also, it ties into Warbird's appearance, who had just been recently kicked out of the Avengers. They came to figure out about the skirmish. They're like, everything's okay. Seems like you handled it. Then Wolverine starts attacking everybody. Why? Because Wolverine's possessed by this alien intelligence, though they don't know that. Wolverine's just going ham. So they're showcasing their powers, but Wolverine is being shown in Eric Larsen's second issue here how badass he is, how unstoppable, how threatening, how scary Logan is as an entity to have to fight. Speaking of entities, Wolverine's like, yo, why are you in my body? What's going on here? She keeps using them to mutilate and demolish. And then you got the appearance of Moon Knight. I was reading this book and I was like, holy crap, man, I don't think we had seen Moon Knight in a while. And I don't think we had either, though I do know that Erik Larsen is, I think, pulling a lot of characters that he remembers from his time at Marvel previous, before he jumped over to Found Image with his compatriots over there. This is him coming back in 1999, 98, 99 to do some Marvel work, right? Moon Knight shows up. But I did some research. There was a Moon Knight like limited series that was done at this time. So that's mostly why he shows up. And then randomly you got US Agent, Falcon, and Black Widow showing up. I think that Erik Larsen said, what Marvel characters can I use? They gave him a list. And so they show up. They're not on a team. They're not tied into any book. Just characters there. And Wolverine, as they're planning to take down Wolverine shows up, takes out US Agent, takes out the Falcon, and then Solo shows up. Solo's an interesting character, very 90s, very of the moment, and even at this time, Solo hadn't really been used too much, so it's interesting for him to show up here. Black Widow, by the way, trying to talk some sense. Logan is my friend. Leave him alone. There's got to be a good reason for this. Let's figure it out. Let's find out what's going on. He's like, oh, really? And then Logan, or the entity possessing Logan, takes Black Widow hostage, basically. And Solo's like, yeah, Natasha, yeah, that's your friend. That's the one you're trying to protect. And then all of a sudden, Logan gets shocked, and it's Cardiac. Y'all, I'm going to be super honest. Cardiac is one of my favorite Spider-Man characters from that early 90s era. And so I'm pretty certain that Erik Larsen just used this character because he hadn't been used in a while, and he was familiar with this character. So he's the one that actually stands more of a chance against Logan, but Logan takes his staff and causes a rock fall basically onto Cardiac. Then you got the surviving members of the New Warriors, and I love that they're dealing with this. Now that Justice and Firestar are Avengers, what happens with Darkhawk, Speedball, and Rage? Nobody's showing up for New Warriors meetings. They don't have Thrash there. Like, what's going on? Nova's gone. Namorita's gone. What's going on? But Black Widow says, you know what? I'll help you figure this out. But before they can do anything, they get smashed by a wall falling on them at the hands of Wolverine. And then Human Torch shows up. That's right. Johnny Storm shows up. I guess they were like Fantastic Four's off the books, but you know what? You can use the Human Torch. Turns out Black Cat is still up and at him, so they're fighting together. Then Human Torch gets doused by some water. Black Cat gets taken out. And then you got an internal monologue between Wolverine and the entity possessing him. She says, in my galaxy or on my planet, we have heard the legend of the Wolverine. I had to come and test you. So she took over his body and started fighting all of these people, his friends that he's being tortured with throughout this entire issue, by the way. He's being tortured with this. She's like, I heard of the legend of the Wolverine, so I had to test you, though, to make sure that you could do this because I need you to come and help me for some noble cause. So the whole premise, the whole conceit of the issue is that this alien entity takes over Wolverine's body, fights with all of his friends just to make sure that the legends are true. So what does Wolverine decide? Well, we'll find out next issue, but I guarantee you he's going to go. Then we get a click to who she's talking about. She's talking about this ultimate villain who's kidnapping people, withholding people, right? Like putting them in prison against their own will and shit like that. Who is doing this? Even last survivors of alien races. It gets revealed in the last page. It's the Collector. So what's really interesting about this run is that it starts very ground level and it starts getting rather cosmic. Yes, it does. All right, let's take a look at this issue again and talk about Jeff Matsuda. So Jeff Matsuda did the artwork. I said this last time. At the time of release, of publication, I wasn't a fan of his work. I was curious about what he had been up to since. So I was talking to my buddy Kevin, I think, who knows Jeff. And Kevin mentioned, oh, he did work on The Batman, the animated series. So I looked him up. He is a very successful director and producer of animation now. And it makes sense when you look at his work. In the last talk we had a couple weeks ago, for Wolverine 133. I said at the time I didn't really like his work, but I liked it and how it fit in with that manga-influenced American artist, Joe Mad, Humberto Ramos. This stuff was going on at the time. Jeff Matsuda fit right into that. We got a cool Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles ad right there. And I loved when Marvel did this gatefold, catch you up on who the character is, where they've been, what's going on in the story. But Jeff Matsuda's artwork here in issue 134, not as clean or as refined as issue 133. It feels almost like he had more time to focus in on that. But one thing I am noticing, and I could be wrong because I'm just guessing. I love these old ads from the late 90s, by the way. They're very nostalgic to me. First of all, I love the energy that's present, but I do feel that there are certain pages, maybe not everything, but certain pages that are definitely, that look at that ad for the Blade DVD and VHS. That's dope as shit. But I believe there are certain pages that may be broken down by Eric Larson, like maybe some thumbnails were given. There are moments here where it looks like it's laid out by Eric Larson, but there are moments where it doesn't. Like, it's not quite his panel work. It's a little bit different. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gave like thumbnails to Jeff Matsuda and then Jeff kind of did his own thing with it. But it does provide some of that Larson Kirby energy. Like, Larson is trying to infuse. There's a bunch of ads in this fucking book, by the way. And as I said, I think a couple weeks ago, a lot of ads mean a healthy comic book industry. So, see if we can get back to this point that the world is different now. I remember this ad. Me and my friends used to goof on this. And one of our early, when I was in high school, I did this like radio show on tape recording. And that was one of our bits, was making fun of this anti-bedwetting ad from Mark McGuire. I'm not even kidding. It's an anti-bedwetting ad. It says, every night, 5 to 7 million kids across the country wet the bed. It's not their fault. Learn the facts about bedwetting. See your doctor or other healthcare provider to learn about active treatments. Are you fucking serious? There's a phone number here, 1-888-WAKE-DRY. Are you fucking serious? It's an ad for bedwetting in a comic book. What the fuck, y'all? Anyway, there are certain poses that feel very Eric Larson to me. It's not so much the layouts. It's more of the poses, maybe. It is that energy, and Jeff Matsuda is bringing it here, so I do like it. I love this era of bullpen bulletins. His Wolverine's fins go crazy, and I love it. So I like the artwork. I like the book. I love that Marvel was still able to, like, they were finally figuring out computer coloring on newsprint type stock. So there's the book Tony Hawk Got Milk ad back there. I liked it. I'm enjoying going back and enjoying and reading this Eric Larson run on Wolverine. He did his initial 6-issue arc. Then he did it for a few issues more, and then he kind of fell out of it. But we're going to go all the way through, I think, 148 to 150, somewhere around there. So that should be fun. But anyway, what do you think about Wolverine 134? What do you think about Eric Larson's run on Wolverine? And just so you know, I've also now completed Eric Larson's run on Nova, so expect that to come out here again on Marvel in the 90s. All right, I think we did a good job there. Wasn't Cardiac created by Larson? I think he was. I think he was co-created by Larson. I didn't know that for a fact, so I didn't want to mention that in that video or in that segment. What's up, Brother Joe? And we got a super chat from Ouroboros. Wanted to say thank you for all the good vibes you put out into the world. Had a hard past year, but you've been a definite light and source of resonance. Ouroboros, thank you so much, man. This one is most authentically towards you. Ouroboros, I hope 2025 and 2026 are much better to you. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had a sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. And now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. BBRD. Ouroboros, thank you so much for the kind words. Glad I could be of some relief. Bruh, I love you. You're worth it. Come on, man. Let's do it. Just picked up a few copies of Larson's run on the Defenders earlier today. I forgot that Larson did Defenders. Me and Kevin were speculating today, or yesterday, why Larson did this Marvel work, and we were piecing it together, but I'm not ready to really talk about it on the segment yet, because those segments get clipped out eventually. But yeah, I gotta check out that Defenders run. He also was doing World's Greatest Comic, the Fantastic Four. Yeah, Cardiac, Lotta. Yeah, those damn bedwetting nerds, Bryson. I do not have a Discord. Yes, Ariaga says. I checked. It was co-created by Larson. His first appearance was in ASM 344 during Larson's run. I figured. I think in the video at least I said he had a history with the character, so there was that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Short Night of Glass Dolls, sent to me by Celluloid Dreams, a 1971 giallo film. Very excited to review that film here. And then a special bonus, DC in the oddies. You know we're going through Batman Hush. And then we got a lot of show and tell to get through, y'all. We love you. We'll be right back here on Rockin' Robbie Live.
attention! We're starting now! Go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. We've had a great show already. We did Marvel in the 90s. We did the DC sneak peek, and we did a lot of bullshit around. By the way, follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on X over at the Rockin Robbie. You can support us at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the super chat, which triggers a Hellboy song. We always appreciate all the support, all the love, everything, merch, podcasts, all that stuff at popculturephilosophers.com. All those links in the description below. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been a great show. Station, pop, pop, boom, all that jazz and more. Tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night, we're continuing anime with Brooks's Pick with Princess Mononoke. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, so you still got time to watch Princess Mononoke. It is streaming on Max right now, but you might just have it on physical media. Check out Princess Mononoke and join us tomorrow night for the stream at 8 p.m. Central Time. Join the conversation talking about this brilliantly animated film. We now pause for station identification. All right, we are back. What is up, everybody? How you doing? Let's take a look at the chat. Bryson wants to know, anybody watching The Righteous Gemstones might be one of the funniest shows currently. I have never seen an episode, so not me, but I don't watch a lot of television. Brother Joe says, Robbie, after the break, is one of your rants about wrestling? Because I'm here. Well, you want me to rant about wrestling? I will tell you this. Brother Joe, this is the most excited I've been for a Saturday Night Main Event in decades. So I'm very, very excited to see R-Truth and John Cena. Very excited for the Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn and CM Punk match. Very excited for the Steel Cage match with Damian and Drew. And I'm actually kind of rather excited to see Jey Uso against Logan Paul. It's going to be interesting to see how those styles connect. So that's what I think right now, man. All right. We're about to do a movie review. I spilled beer on my fucking shirt. Some mama. That's all right. Y'all can't see me. All right. We're about to do this movie review. We're going to do it live, man. Let's do it. Welcome to the third act. everybody. Where are we at on likes right now? Only 41 likes? Get the fuck out of here. We had almost 50-something, 60 people in the chat. Let's get those likes up, y'all. Let's hit 50 likes. Can we hit 50 likes? Come on, y'all. Let's hit these 50 likes. Brian says, why excited for R-Truth and Cena? No way Truth is winning. You know, I know. But I think this is a turning point in Cena's heel turn. I think this is the point where he goes too far and hurts somebody. I think that they're setting this up to be like the moment where he realizes, having beaten the shit out of R-Truth, who's not going to try to beat him, I think this is the moment where I think we got a little bit of that at the end of Backlash. I think we're setting up the face turn. I'm excited. It's a quick heel turn, man. But I'm excited. And right now, I'm newly back into wrestling. I haven't been watching it consistently for a long time. So I'm just excited to be back in it. Robbie's a retailer. What do free comic book day issues cost you? Between 25 to 40 cents. Each. Between 25 to 40 cents each. YouTube is telling me there's an error. It's telling me it's not receiving enough video. Well, seemed like we dropped out for a moment there, maybe. Everything seems... Oh no. We might be having internet issues here at Casa de la Chiba. How are y'all seeing me? Am I glitching? Y'all let me know. Showing me that we're having issues. Fable says we're good. Link says we're good. YouTube and OBS is telling me otherwise. What's up, Eddie Von B? Oh man, they're telling me everything is poor right now. We got so much to go. We still got like a whole hour of the show. I don't want to have these issues right now. Too many booby streams? No, that's not happening. Pete says you're all good. Link says you have a slight lag. We want to make sure everything's cool before we continue on. Brian says it's fine. Eddie says no issues. Y'all might be a little bit behind me, so I'm in the red now, so I need to see how it's going. Because I plan on clipping out some of these next few segments, so I don't want anything to be off. What are y'all seeing? Everything on my end is saying it's really bad. What's up, Billy? Can I talk about my ability to read a lot of comics? What's there to talk about? I can read a lot of comics. What's there to talk about? Chill Out Man's having some issues too. Son of a bitch. Pete says everything is good, but I'm worried that y'all are like, yeah, I can hear you, but I don't want to be like when I clip out one of these segments. Like, have you always been a huge reader? Is it a chore? No, I've always been a big reader, especially of comics. Sometimes it feels like it's a chore. But only sometimes. For the most part, it's fine. Eddie says no problem. Huh. Well, I guess worst case scenario, I can just start recording. That way I have it clean. All right. Well, fuck it. Y'all said everything's fine. We'll go. Is there pressure to read them for the stream, better or worse? Is the pressure to read them for the stream better or worse? So I was always one of those guys that would read my weekly comics on Wednesday. Like, don't mess with me until I read my comics. I was always one of those kind of guys. So it's not that difficult for me. There are days, though, where, like, I got a lot going on in my life. I'm not trying to sound like that guy, but I will. Like, I'm a little bit of a busy dude. And so, yeah, there are Tuesdays where I'm like, fuck, I just want to get through these books. I didn't have the chance to get ahead of the curve. Shit like that. Sometimes it will get to me that way. But for the most part, no. I love reading. I read a lot. And I read a lot of not just comics, too. So. Brian says, thanks. I'm pretty fascinated. I have fallen out of reading and want to get back. Well, here's the secret is this. If it's comics, read one comic a day. Just try to read one comic a day. If it's a book, just read one chapter a day. Do it before bed. Do it when you first get up. Wake up 30 minutes earlier to get it in. Wherever you like. It's up to us to fit in the things we want to do. The universe is not here to allow us the time and space to do everything we want to do. We, as individuals, have to make the time to do it. So even I do this, and I say, I don't have time for that. No, I don't make time for that, if that makes sense. Saying my stream my stream is pretty weak is what it's saying right now. There's some slight video pauses on my end, but they're quick. Audio is fine. All right, well, I'm recording right now, so let's just fucking do it. For the clipped out bits, it's fine. For show and tell, I think it'll be fine too. All right, let's do it. Just getting set up here. Yeah, it's hard to do when I buy 100 books. I get overwhelmed. Well, Brian, I get it. Because I don't remember who quoted this. My buddy Carl is the one who put this quote towards me. When we buy a book, we also think we're buying the time to read it. A chapter a day is better than nothing. A comic a day is better than nothing. Chill Out says, oh my God, it's up to us to make time to do things we want to do. That doesn't sound like my heel, Robbie. Were you here when I cut my promo about how I was the best comic book reviewer of all time? All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So recently, our friends over at Celluloid Dreams have sent us their latest release, Short Night of Glass Dolls. This is a 1971 giallo film that I've never seen. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it. But now I've had the opportunity because of Celluloid Dreams. Now, last year, they sent us Case of the Bloody Iris. This was a great, fantastic release. Came with lobby cards and even a mouse pad. It was great, y'all. So I appreciate Celluloid Dreams. And without even letting me know, they sent me this one. So, of course, It's a new movie I've never seen. Was a 1971 new to me movie I've never seen. I love what Celluloid Dreams did with Case of the Bloody Iris. I'm excited to dive into this. And now it's time for our short night of Glass Dolls movie review. So like I said, Short Night of Glass Dolls is a 1971 Italian film, a giallo. It was also produced by West Germany as well. It's a brilliant film. It's written and directed by Aldo Lotto. I'm not super familiar with his work. So I was intrigued by this book, or by this movie. And I knew that this movie was coming from Celluloid Dreams, and I had heard about it a little bit before, but nothing like super solid. And I can tell you super solidly, this movie freaking rocks, right? So it stars Jean Sorel as Gregory in this movie. And in most gialli, you get the idea that there's like a murder and somebody, usually a reporter or somebody in another profession, not a police officer, not a detective, but somebody from another country is trying to explore the murder. But this is the first gialli that I can think of that the protagonist is presumed dead from the very beginning. Because the movie was also released as Paralyzed or something like that. And it starts off with our main character dead on a slab. He's found dead, his body's found dead, but his consciousness is still alive. He is still aware of everything that's going on inside while he's on the slab at the morgue, all the way up to where he's on the autopsy table by the end of the movie. But one of the things he does to stay sane is to revisit the events that led him here, because his memory's a little bit fuzzy. And it involves his girlfriend, who is played by Barbara Bach. She is gorgeous. She's in The Spy Who Loved Me. If she looks familiar, that's why. So he reminisces about that. So he is a foreign correspondent. He's an American in Prague. This movie is set in Prague at the time, the Czechoslovakia, I believe, or something like that. So this is 1971. This is before the Berlin Wall comes down and the collapse of the USSR and all that stuff, right? So he is trying to solve the mystery of how he ended up dead on a morgue slab, but still conscious, right? He took his girlfriend to a party, and I think she lives in Prague, and she wants to run away with him, but every time he's in Prague, he hooks up with her, and then she disappears one night, and then him, with the help of his other reporter friends, including Jessica, right here, who he also has had an affair with, and his friend Jacques, right there, who is a very interesting and flamboyant character in this film, and I really, really like this character. But it's up to them and him and a few other key witnesses to uncoil this mystery of what's going on. And the movie is really intriguing because it cuts back and forth between the investigation, his investigation, I should say, and how the police are actively against him. And there's these other elements of society that seem like they're against him as well. And at the same time, it's intercut with scenes of him on the morgue table. The doctor's trying to figure out if he's alive or if he's dead, or anything like that. But slight spoilers here, it ultimately unfurls in a weird sex cult type thing going on, right? So it turns out that some of the more prominent members of society are involved in the mysterious disappearance of his girlfriend. And as he has help from others, and some others get got throughout the course of the movie, and some don't, all these intriguing elements eventually build to one point that is pretty freaking cool. And the revelation happens And then, y'all, I'm going to slightly spoil this. At the end of the movie, as he's finally coming back to life from his state of paralysis, he gets killed on the autopsy table. Short Night of Glass Dolls is a pretty solid movie. I really liked it. I've watched a lot of gialli. The giallo film is typically an Italian-produced film that is a murder mystery that involves a killer and somebody, usually from a foreign country, trying to solve the murder. In this case, it's a foreign correspondent reporter in Prague trying to solve the mystery of his own murder, and throughout his recollections on the slab, fully conscious, he recollects the rest of the movie, and it unveils this whole Illuminati-esque conspiracy, right? Pretty solid, fun stuff that was engaging from the get-go, y'all. As soon as this movie started, I loved it. I was thinking about things like there's a Tales from the Crypt episode where a wife and her boyfriend kill the husband of the wife, right? And he's still conscious in his body and in his mind. I think of things like Serpent and the Rainbow, a brilliant Wes Craven film. But this movie is 1971, way far beyond or before the time of those films. I don't know if this is the first movie dealing with the idea of just being in a paralyzed, induced state, but being fully conscious, but everybody else thinks you're dead. And it doesn't end in a buried alive type bit. Like, even Lost played this bit, right? In season 3. It was very intriguing, and it was way different than other gialli that I have seen. And I appreciated the movie for that. It is filmed beautifully. This is Aldo's first movie. So it's Aldo Lotto, who also did... this is his first movie. He also did Who Saw Her Die, The Cousin, Woman Buried Alive, The Humanoid. I am not familiar with this dude's work. But the movie really works. Now, one of the things, and this is brought to you by some of the special features on this disc, we'll get to that. But one of the themes of this movie is that this is about like Prague at a certain point. There was a rebellion that was formulating in Prague back in the late 60s or so, right? And there was like a new government or a new president or something that was like elected in. Everything looked good. The youth were rebelling. And then the Warsaw Pact came in and just wrecked it all. So this movie is kind of a response to that from the director and the writer. And that's interesting. It has a lot of themes that it explores about freedom, government control, the rights of power, who has power, how is that power being used. It deals with a lot of that. It deals with a lot of power dynamics, mostly in government. And it does very specifically lean into this one element of this conquering, if you will, of a rebellion in Prague, right? It utilizes the setting of Prague incredibly well. Most of it wasn't filmed in Prague, right? And it's probably, and I think they say this on the Blu-ray at some point. I think Guido, who does the English commentary here, I think he mentioned it. But it might be like the first out of all gialli that deal with a story beyond the Iron Curtain, which is actually there's a lot of interesting bits to this movie that make it separate itself from other giallo films. So Short Night of Glass Dolls is a brilliant film. The music is done by Ennio Morricone, who you will know as the wham 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 wham. He's great. He's also the composer of John Carpenter's The Thing. He's done a lot of movies that we've talked about here on PCP. The music here is some of his best. It gets so unsettling, so unnerving, disharmonious at times. The disharmonious nature of the score is what really elevates it for me. There feels to be early, like, synthy type things being involved here. A lot of ambient noise, a lot of utilization of tones and shrieks, and there's so much there, but at the same time, very melodic and beautiful at certain moments of the film. So I think it's one of Morricone's best scores that out of any movie I've watched outside of his Western work with Sergio Leone. Short Night of Glass Dolls is a brilliant, brilliant film. I really, really, really like it. And overall, I would give the movie a 4.69, you digs. There are moments towards the third act where maybe it slows up just a tad. Just a tad. But it is pretty much a lean movie. The first act is flawless. The second act is super solid. The third act is where it gets a little bit like this, but by the end of it, I was left solely satisfied. So a 4.69 for the movie. Let's talk about this release. Let's take a look at The Case of the Bloody Iris versus Short Night of Glass Dolls. Both of these are 4K Ultra HD as well as Blu-ray. So there's a 4K and a Blu-ray disc and a disc of bonus features and shit like that. This is a movie that just comes with a slipcase, and that was dope. This movie comes in a hard case that is absolutely stunning, gorgeous, and beautiful on a shelf. Inside is the actual Blu-ray 4K right there, set. And then a book. A book right here that is about the career of Aldo Lado, who passed away in 2023. It's got many different little essays, a lot of photos in there. It is a gorgeous book. It is very informative on the movie, on the themes, on the plot, on the cinematic qualities of the film. It is incredibly well done. This is comparable to a Criterion release, right? Like, seriously, Criterion movies that come with these retrospectives, these essays, these books. This is splendid. Case of the Bloody Iris didn't do that. This one does. It even talks about the specific details of the restoration. It's a thick one, y'all. There's a lot of stuff there. The discs itself, or themselves, there is a reversible slip. The other side of the slip is the same image with the Italian title. So it's the same image with the Italian title. Bear with me as I put this back in, because I'm that kind of nerd. All right. There is a coming soon for their next release, which was the same release that was promised on Case of the Bloody Iris, but they went into Short Night of Glass Dolls for a reason that I don't quite know, but I remember them talking about it on their social medias. Anyway, disc 1 is the 4K. I don't have a 4K player, so I didn't get to watch that one. Disc 2 is the Blu-ray. That's the one I watched. Same special features on both. Look great. Disc 3 is the bonus features. Lots of content here, including like an hour and 40-minute long interview with the director, another interview with the director, an interview. There's tons of interviews here, like all kinds of people. There's a great retrospective on the movie, a great video essay. There's like 3 hours of content on that disc alone. And then this final disc has the paralyzed version and the grindhouse version. The grindhouse version has like the same, like before the restoration, I guess, like the film grit effects, and that's really cool. It looks like you're watching it at a grindhouse movie theater. And the paralyzed version is like a VHS transfer, so you get that VHS feel too. So Celluloid Dreams knows what the fuck they're doing. It's worth it because you get pristine 4K quality, I'm assuming. You got a beautiful 4K restoration on the Blu-ray that looks amazing. The colors pop. Everything about this is a darker giallo than some of the other gialli that I've seen, but like it's not too dark. And like, but I don't mean that. I mean that visually. I don't mean that like subject material. I've seen darker Jolly, like, but like this one, it has like a subdued kind of palette that really pops, and the colors really pop for it. And those other versions, I briefly took a look at them, and they looked amazing. So what an amazing set. You get a really extensive, comprehensive, Criterion-esque book, along with a 4-disc set that has so many versions of the film, whether if you want it to be a grindhouse feel, if you want it to be super clean and restored, or if you want it to look like a VHS, you have all those options here. Lots of special features, including an isolated score of an amazing score, and then a brilliant package put together for this. This is even better than the Case of the Bloody Iris package. And let me show you some of the extras that they sent me and that I think you can get with the Ultra Special Edition. You get a film cell from the movie, so that's cool. It's always cool to have that. And we get these lobby cards. They sent us some lobby cards with Case of the Bloody Iris. We get lobby cards for Short Night of Glass Dolls. So overall, I would say the movie gets a 4.69. I really liked the movie. I thought it was solid, very inventive, very imaginative. I had a lot of fun with it. But this set from Celluloid Dreams, their second release ever, they've only done Case of the Bloody Iris and now this. They are one of my favorite boutique movie Blu-ray 4K distributors, because just these lobby cards, the film cell, the quality of the packaging, the artifact itself, the special features, the sound, the video, everything about it was so pristinely put together, so meticulously crafted. It's brilliant. It's a great film that really needs to be more, like, y'all, people think I'm an expert on Italian cinema. No, because I never even heard of this movie. Thank you, Celluloid Dreams, for sending me this. They have got another 5 out of 5 as far as the physical media release of this movie. The movie's already great, but the physical release is even better. 5 out of 5, perfect score, Short Night of Glass Dolls from Celluloid Dreams. I would highly encourage anybody to check it out. It is a fantastic movie and an even better release. Thank you, Celluloid Dreams. Looking forward to the next one. All right. And as we were talking about that, we got a very generous super chat from Starscream, who says, Robbie, happy belated man. What's your favorite kaiju movie? Easy. Gojira, the original Japanese film. Gojira. Thank you for the super chat. Love you, man. This one's for you. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had a sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz. baby. All right, y'all. Here we are. We're going. We're just rolling through. All right. Should we do that or should we postpone that? Yeah. Got to rethink this. But however, we're going to do it, y'all. Because y'all are here. We're feeling good. Seems like the stream's doing well. So glad we did that no matter what. Anyway. What's up, Scotty? How you doing? Scotty too hottie? What's up, Loet? What's up? Robbie made me watch Dario Argento stuff. Demons and Bird with the Crystal Plumage. You'll like that movie. It was really good. Sleepy Reader 666 in the house station, my man. Does Celluloid Dream specialize in giallo films only? So far, yes. Only 2 releases. Both jolly. For the uninitiated, giallo is the singular, jolly is the plural. And I think I fucked it up in my review a couple times. All right, y'all. Might as well get into it because I prepared for it. All right, recently we have been talking about Batman Hush. My history with Batman Hush is this. I liked it enough when it came out, started not liking it, and since then, I have said some negative things about Batman Hush. So I've decided, let's go back to the 2000s and revisit Batman Hush issue to issue. So join us for the newest segment of DC in the Oddies. And tonight we're talking about Batman 609, Part 2 of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's Hush. I'm going to tell you this is a pretty solid comic. Pretty solid cover to start with. Then we get into the action. All right. The last time we saw Batman Hush was Batman Hush Part 1, 608, right? Batman had had his line cut, and he had fallen a very devastating fall down an alleyway. Now we've got these criminals showing up, finding Batman on the ground, and trying to take him out. One gets gassed when he tries to remove his mask. One gets electrocuted when he touches him. And as one is trying to shoot him, there is this conversation going on between Oracle asking any members of the Bat family close because vitals are low on Bruce. And who shows up? But the Huntress. So at this time, I remember very vividly hating parts of this issue. Why? Because I love the character of Huntress. I really, really do. And when I started reading Huntress, it was the Helena Bertinelli version of Huntress that was established post-crisis. I love this character so much. And Greg Rucka had been doing such a great job building this character up that when she shows up here, even though in hindsight, Jeff Loeb is continuing some of those threads, I didn't like Jim Lee's redesign of the costume. Now that I know more about comics and the history of comics, I know that this is more of a throwback to the original Huntress costume. In the original continuity, post or pre-crisis, Helena Wayne was the Huntress. She was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. Okay, she had a very similar costume. Jim Lee wanted to throw that in. Makes sense. Plus, Jim Lee wants to draw ass. And you know what? At the time, I had a problem with that for some reason. But nowadays, I'm here for it. Because what I love about it is that Jeff Loeb continues the story of Bertinelli and Bruce, right? Bruce is telling Helena, or he's thinking to himself, She pushes herself too hard. She's trying too hard to prove herself. I feel a lot of myself with her. And having just come off of things like No Man's Land, that fractured even more the relationship between Huntress and Batman, to have her be the one to show up, but still be so dismissed, really works for me. And honestly, now I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? So far, 2 issues in, this is a really solid where Batman is at the moment kind of story. I like that. I like it a lot. I will say, though, when Jim Lee draws the Batmobile showing up, should have been a bigger moment, a bigger issue. I remember being very, very unhappy with this ass shot in the middle of the page right there. But nowadays, I guess because I'm older, I'm 44, I don't mind it so much. At the time, though, I get it. I think this costume, this version of this costume, is way out of character for Helena Bertinelli at this time in continuity. But whatever. It's Jim Lee. Let him do what he does. Let him cook. And then you got Hush making his appearance with an Aristotle quote saying, "Without friends, no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods." The theme of this issue is friends. So then we kick to the next page. A brilliantly rendered image of Poison Ivy right there, holding the briefcase of the money that was stolen from Killer Croc's ransom attempt in the first part of Hush. Who takes it? Somebody whispering. We're led to believe it's the same person that we saw on the previous page, who we know as Hush. What about Batman? We'll see. Then we cut to the Batcave, because as Huntress was there, Oracle sent the Batmobile to pick up Batman and take him back to the cave. Alfred is trying to stitch him up. He says, "You have a skull fracture. I cannot do this. I don't know what to do." Barbara brings up the person who helped Bruce heal his back after the Nightfall incident. But Bruce then uses Morse code to remind Alfred of his friend, Thomas Elliot. So they fake a near fatal wreck. And what they do is they call in, make a big commotion out of it, and call in Bruce's childhood friend, Thomas Elliot, a character we've never been introduced to, who is brand new. And then Jim Lee does a flashback here. Some of the best Jim Lee work up to this point. He does this great ink wash type thing where he shows an old game of Risk or chess or something. Tommy and Bruce are playing, and Bruce is always losing to Tommy because he says, "You forget about your most important piece, your spy. I will always be able to beat you, Bruce." And then Bruce's parents are looking down on him and says, "Yo, I think our Bruce is going to be happy. I think he's going to be a good, happy kid." Anyway, this is a bit heavy-handed, not just on the Bruce's parents stuff, but on the Thomas Elliot always being able to beat Bruce. A little bit too on the nose. Spoilers, Hush gets revealed eventually to be Thomas Elliot. Simple story. Introduce a new threat, introduce a new character connected to the main character's past. That character is the new threat. But anyway, Tommy Elliot gets brought in to save Bruce's life. He does so, and then at the end of the issue, we see Hush ripping up a paper celebrating the return of Bruce Wayne. And what does he say? Another Aristotle quote. "We make war that we may live in peace." That is Batman issue 609. It's not a bad issue. It's all right. I got this new DC facsimile right here, foil cover. It's a decent cover, great composition. You got some Poison Ivy butt there, so that's nice. The issue itself is okay. It starts off strong. I love the first half of this issue. I really do. I am a fan of Huntress, right? And first of all, I love the gadgets that Batman has at the ready in case something like this happens and people are trying to unmask him. But then his friend shows up, or his not so much friend, Helena Bertinelli, the Huntress. I miss this version of the Huntress. I really do. I'm trying to forget can't see what page I'm on. I miss this version of the Huntress. I didn't like the costume design so much at the time, but you know what? I'm way more forgiving of that because Jeff Loeb really understands that dynamic. Look at that, though. That takes you back. Look at that ad for that monstrous CD system. I sometimes, every once in a while, I feel like I need to go like retro buy one of these things to set up here just to recreate my bedroom. Anyway, when Huntress shows up, that's a badass panel or a splash page on her bike. Lots of ads in these books. Huntress kicks ass. Saves Batman. These facsimiles do a really great job because they keep tobacco was wacko if you're a teen. They keep all the ads that are super nostalgic. It's a Star Wars game ad right there. What is that? Star Wars Clone Wars, the video game. I think this is before the Clone Wars came out. But these facsimiles are pretty solid. I'll be honest with you. Batman Hush, 2 chapters in, is better than I remembered it. And like, for instance, though, there's a big fucking giant ad here for this hero book by William Pfeiffer. That was really good. But it like is pages long with all these other ads. And you got to keep flipping and flipping until you finally get to it. One of my favorite pages in the book. That's a great Poison Ivy. I like it, but in hindsight, you know, the issue itself is pretty solid. But I will say this. It was obvious to me at the time, oh, you're introducing a childhood friend of Wayne and a new villain. Is this connected in some kind of way, right? It's so obvious. That being said, Jim Lee doing this inkwash type stuff is really good. I don't know if this is all him or if it's him and Scott Williams, but it works. It does get kind of thrown off by some of the ads. A lot of ads in this book, which means a healthy industry. But all in all, a pretty solid issue. I would give this one a 3.5 out of 5, you digs. Scorpion King. Fucking the video game, y'all, starring The Rock. What ridiculousness. Starburst ad. I like these foil facsimiles. It's given me an excuse to go back and revisit Batman Hush. So far, I'm not regretting it. So Batman Hush, Chapter 2, 3.5. What do you think? Let me know. And that has been your iteration of DC in the Oddies. All right. Now it's time for show and tell and get on up out of here. Last week was Robbie Week. I was asking people to send Robbie Week gifts. I got a lot of gifts. I got a lot of things I want to show off, so let's get into it real hard. First of all, my buddy Jelani didn't give me anything that I could show you tonight because what he did was he hosted WWE Backlash for me and my friends, and he had food, and he had bought me a bottle of Screwball, and he bought me a bottle of tequila. Those bottles are now gone. So Jelani, I love you. My buddy Brooks hooked me up with an LA Knight action figure because he knows I'm back into wrestling, and I do dig LA Knight, so that's cool. LA Knight from Brooks. My buddy Scott, who I do the paranormal show with, hooked me up with the complete cipher of the UFO knots. This is a book by Alan Greenfield, and I've already looked through it, and it's kind of about like UFOs and its phenomena and how it relates to like occult phenomena, and seems pretty interesting to me. Scott, you know me, you know what I love. That's perfect. My buddy Kevin Stokes, got me this Universal Monsters NECA Invisible Man. I passed on the first NECA Invisible Man for the Universal Monsters to get this one because this is the Kemp House look, and that to me is my iconic Invisible Man. I don't like the one so much with the nose. This is the version I wanted, and Kevin hooked me up. Kevin, I love you, station. Damien is here, and we've already showed this off, but Damien sent me The first Blu-ray I got for my birthday week. 8.5. Fellini film. Great film. Then we had Guy LeMay hook me up with Humanoids from the Deep. And this has been officially added to the PCP Movie Night Horror Fest 2025 lineup. Then we had our man Dark Fizzo send me another Fellini film, La Dolce Vita. Thank you so much. Cannot wait to talk about that one. Every movie that's been sent to me will be covered in some form or fashion. What's up, Eric? What's up, naysayers? Dream a Little Dream was sent to me anonymously. I don't know who sent me this. If it's you, speak up, please. From my buddy John Cole, who I do the show with over at the EXP every Monday night at 5 p.m. Central Time. John sent me the original Prom Night station, John. Love that. Felix sent me The Adventures of Batman. This is a cartoon from like the late 60s, early 70s. This is on my wish list. Thank you so much, homie. I believe Adam West and Burt Ward do the voices on this show, but I could be wrong. But thank you so much. Our boy James Donahoe and his brother Charles outdid themselves. They sent me Rashomon, a brilliant Akira Kurosawa film. They also sent me Cage Musha, or gave this to me in person, I should say. Cage Musha, another Kurosawa film, and a Japanese film I've never heard, Oni Baba, which I hear is brilliant and amazing. All three of these on Criterion. So James and Charles, thank you so much. My girlfriend gave me a bunch of socks. I don't have them here to show them off. A couple Ninja Turtle socks, a Bigfoot sock, one sock that had a bunch of cereal boxes with knives saying serial killer, because I love that, and a set of socks with jalapenos, because I'm a Spice Lord. So, love you, girlfriend. Another gift from my girlfriend, She-Ra, Princess of Power, the complete series on DVD. I had already gotten myself the He-Man series, so she wanted to compliment that and got me She-Ra. So girlfriend, love you so much. Y'all are the best. All right. Two Gun Pedro sent me some birthday gifts, a birthday package, including Eden Lake, which is a movie Dylan is covering right now, I believe, but I'm not there for it, but sorry. Also sent me Dolly Dearest, which is a movie that Dylan is covering next week that I will be joining him for because I want to check this movie out. And Two Gun, I will check that one out as well. Let you know what I thought about it. And Two Gun Pedro has sent me now only one movie to have a complete Argento physical media collection because he sent me the card player with the slip, Two Gun. Thank you. Love you. Two Gun also sent me some VHSs, including The Others. It's got to be one of the last VHSs ever made, right? Love that film. The Remnant, which I've never seen, so I'm excited to dive into that one. Raising Cain, John Lithgow. I remember this one. Haven't seen that in forever. How about Action Heroes, a movie and TV, like a documentary special? This is stuff that I dream for on VHS. And Two Gun Pedro, you are really, really fulfilling the bargain. And then, y'all, this is the best gift Two Gun Pedro sent me in a long time. And he sends me so many great gifts. How about a collector series previously viewed, even though it's completely sealed up, it looks like, but how about Starman on VHS, y'all? We just covered this on the channel not too long ago. Such a great film. Such a great film to have on VHS. What a cool presentation of it, too. Original studio, collector series, previously viewed movie. So weird how it's packaged. How do you open it? I guess you open it on the side? I don't know, but it looks amazing. I'm going to ask some of my VHS friends about that. From our man Eric Stewart, we got Perversion Story. It's a Lucio Fulci film that I've never seen, so I'm excited to dive into that. And then we get to a true MVP. Casey. Casey, I know you've been a silent supporter for a while. You've been on our Patreon for years. Casey sent me a giant stack of stuff from my Amazon wish list, including The Stepfather. By the way, all of these movies being sent will eventually be covered. But Casey, y'all shout it out for Casey. Because The Stepfather, The Psychic, a Lucio Fulci film, which I've never seen. The Body Snatcher, starring Boris Karloff. How about a couple Linnea Quigley movies I've never seen? Murder Weapon and Deadly Embrace. Bruh, you went too far. How about this limited edition steelbook of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving? This was not cheap, bruh. Thank you so much. How about Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Running Man? How about Earth Girls Are Easy? Tell me these are not movies. Venom Spawn, you're Casey. Happy fucking birthday! You're amazing, Casey. How about Earth Girls Are Easy? All these movies I'm showing, who wouldn't want to see these? Now, these next ones are some movies I've never seen, but I saw them on In Search of Darkness Volume 3, and I added them to my wish list. Squirm and The Beast and the Magic Sword. Super excited to dive into those movies. Casey's not done. He also sent me Forbidden World. Holy kidding. Yeah, it's not over. KC's the shit. Venom Spawn. Thank you so much. How about this DVD of Galaxy Girls and Petticoat Planet? Some Skinamax specialties. Hell yeah, we're going to talk about those on the channel. And then, I had bought myself He-Man, the complete series. My girlfriend got me She-Ra, but KC got me Real Ghostbusters, the complete series, as well as Transformers, the complete series, on DVD. Thank you so much. It's awesome that you showed these on my birthday. Well, there's a reason then that we missed out last week, but KC, thank you so much for Ghostbusters and fucking Transformers, Galaxy Girls, and Petticoat Island or Planet, Forbidden World, Squirm. What's this one called? The Beast and the Magic Sword. I'm so excited to check those out. Earth Girls Are Easy. I love this film. Downtown Julie Brown. Running Man. Thanksgiving. The Steelbook, bruh. You're too fucking kind. Murder Weapon and Deadly Embrace. Linnea Quigley. Erotic thrillers. The Body Snatcher. The Psychic, a Fulci film I've never seen. And The Stepfather. Thank you so much, bruh. Venom Spawn, you're the shit. Happy fucking birthday. I love you. You're amazing. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for making my Robbie Week feel so extravagantly awesome. Whether you sent a gift, whether you're here during the streams, whether you watch the shows, like, subscribed, whether you're in my personal life and were there at Twin Peaks and bought me drinks or food or anything like that, or throughout the rest of the week, I appreciate everything. You make me feel loved. You make me feel important. And you make me feel worthwhile. So thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. I cannot wait. Bruh, this Thanksgiving fucking steelbook is amazing. Real quick, Venom Spawn, if you've never seen this, I got this not too long ago from my boy Mike. I love Thanksgiving. This means a lot. It all means a lot. Everybody, Two Gun, John, fucking everybody. Eric, everybody. I tape these little notes on the back of everyone to start keeping them with the movies so that I know who sent them every time. They'll all be talked about. Thank you all so much. I love you. Y'all are the best. Y'all are the best. This is the... It almost makes me regret this heel turn thing. but we're not going to regret it. We're going to keep fucking going. So fuck all of you. Anyway, dipping out. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow night for Princess Mononoke on PCP Movie Night. Brooks's pick, 8 p.m. Central Time. Princess Mononoke here on the channel. Y'all, I love you so much. Y'all are the best. I'm getting emotional, and it's 10, and I'm high. I'm not as high as I was, though. So let me get higher. I'm going to eat some food, and we're going to go to bed. Thanks for watching. We fucking love you. Y'all are the best.